I don't think I have a very good signal, but I'll give it a shot. On my way back from Smith County, somewhere in Texas, I am. Went to Smith County today, had a hearing, a non-adversarial hearing, just an in-rate hearing to get some property back that the police took based on a false claim that was never filed. So I go in there, and like I do always, I empty my pockets, put everything on the conveyor, and they're like, "You got everything?" I was like, "Well, everything but my firearm." And I already handed them my my retired law enforcement credentials and my LEOSA qualification, which I'm required to have under 18 USC 926C. So they're like, "Wait, what do you mean firearm?" I was like, "Yeah, I've got a firearm. That's why I handed you my credentials, so you knew that I was able to carry. You can't carry in here." "Well, yeah, yes, I can. I can carry in here, just the same way you can carry in here." "No, you can't carry in here." I said, "Okay, you're gonna have to get a supervisor then." Very calm. Supervisor happened to be standing right next to him. She said the same thing. I was like, "Okay, I guess I need your supervisor as well." I tried to explain to them that the same law that allows them to carry, the same law that allows judges to carry, the same law is the same law that allows me to carry. As long as I have those two cards that I handed to them so they could look at them, that identify me as retired, qualified law enforcement. And then the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement annual certification I'm required to have as well, in accordance with Texas Penal Code 4615A5, as well as 18 USC 926C under the federal law. Well, the officer, and yes, this is all on film, but because there's going to be a lawsuit, I'm not going to make that public right now. The officer then uses his oversized sumo belly to essentially sumo push me, i.e. assault me, out of the building. So he assaulted me several times to push me out of the building unlawfully. The lieutenant comes out, and of course it's the same lieutenant that violates everybody's rights, whether it's free speech or Second Amendment or state law or federal law, apparently. I mean, I guess there's nothing under the Constitution or the laws of the United States or the state of Texas that he agrees with, or that he thinks he's required to follow. So Lieutenant Lazarine comes out there. He grabs my credentials as well. Then they have some supervisor come out from Smith County Sheriff's in civilian clothes. Oddly, he came out of the court. He was carrying a gun, and while I was outside after they had assaulted me and violently pushed me outside, I asked him, what law are you enforcing? And he points to the window that says no firearms. And I said, "No, that's not, I didn't ask you to point at a window." I said, "What law are you enforcing? Because that law doesn't apply to me." Because if you're saying that law applies to me, then it applies to you as well. If you're saying that sign that's on the window that says no firearms allowed inside, how are you able to carry? And of course, naturally, they don't answer those questions. They won't. They just stare at you like the retards that they are. Because they know they're wrong. They know they're wrong, but my authority is what's keeping me from following the law, because I got my authority. So this detective comes out. He looks at my credentials as well, hands them off to the lieutenant, says, "Hey, go check with T. Cole on this." I'm like, "Oh, so now they're accusing me essentially of falsifying government documents. That's a felony. It's a felony to go into a courthouse if you're not exempt." I didn't get arrested for that felony because it's not a felony. It's a felony to falsify a document, a government document, especially a law enforcement document. They didn't arrest me for that felony. They came back and they said that, "No, you're not coming back in here. You're not law enforcement." I said, "I know I'm not law enforcement. I'm retired law enforcement." What do you think it says right there on the card? And like, well, you're not coming in here. If you come back in here again, we're going to arrest you. And I was like, well, what are you going to arrest me for? Impersonating a peace officer. I was like, motherfucker, I didn't impersonate a peace officer. I told you, and it says right there on that damn card, retired peace officer. How do you impersonate a retired peace officer, first of all? What authority does a retired peace officer have? Zero. And in order for you to be convicted or even charged with impersonating a peace officer, you have to assert some sort of authority to do something. I don't assert any authority as a retired peace officer. I assert the privilege and the right to carry my firearm in the court, just like these fat asses did that assaulted me. So needless to say, none of them could explain what law I was breaking other than, quote unquote, impersonating a peace officer, which is a felony, by the way. So anyway, I ended up taking my firearm back to my car, and because I had a hearing to go to. They made me late for my hearing because they were breaking the law. Of course, they're not being held accountable for that. He comes out and he says he called T. Cole. Well, I called T. Cole. Well, let me back up. So I go out, put my gun in my car, go back, do my hearing, go back out to my car to print something out. But on my way out, I told the lieutenant, I said, all right, hey, lieutenant, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make this easy on you guys, all right? You need to read 4615, call T. Cole, and I'll tell you what, if Carlson there, your detective guy that thinks he's all badass, if he just comes and says, hey, we're sorry, you were right, CJ, then I won't file my lawsuit. All right? Just all you gotta do is just admit you were wrong. I won't file my lawsuit. I said, but you've only got until I'm done with this, because I had to go and draft and print out an order, not draft because it was already drafted, but I had to go print out an order in my car for the judge to sign, because for some reason it wasn't attached to the document. Seem to be a lot of problems with Smith County. I don't have any problems with documents not getting filed properly in Smith County, but that I've been told that I e-filed. So anyway, go up, do my business, come back down. Of course, nobody came up and apologized and said, oh, sorry, CJ, we were wrong. We looked it up, and yeah, we're dumbasses. Sorry. So I made sure the lieutenant knew that my offer was rescinded. Went back out to my car because I was done with business, and I called T. Cole. So first I called the Law Enforcement Officer Safety Act Division. That's the LEOSA division, the division that issues the certifications, the qualifications, the certification of qualification that we have to do every year. And they said they don't have any record. Thing we see here is just that we issued your certification. Did you show them your certification? I said, oh yeah, I showed it to them. And we don't have any. I said, you don't have any record of any phone call? Because they said they called you. No, but let me push you off to the enforcement. Let's see, maybe they called the enforcement division. I said, okay, yeah, I appreciate it. So they'll put me on hold. Enforcement division picks up. She didn't see anything, but she's like, well, let me go with the captain. You mind if I put you on hold? Let me see if I can get the captain to come and find out what's going on. Maybe they talk to him. I said, yeah, no problem. However long it takes, I'm fine. I said, I just need to get this cleared up because they threatened to arrest me. And, they're threatening to arrest me because someone in T. Cole said that I was not a certified retired peace officer. So she comes back, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 minutes later. Not too long. Says, hey, we looked, everything's good. Do you have your 926C card on you? I said, yeah, I gave them my 926C card and I gave them my T. Cole certification. She's like, yeah, I mean, that's, you're good. I see that there's a phone call, but the notes don't say who answered the call or who called. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll tell you what, let me, what I'll do is, I'm not going to make you guys, because she's like, well, let me look into this. I said, well, I want to make your life easy on you. Don't worry about it. I'll find out exactly who it is they talked to in T. Cole, and then I'll call you back, because I need to talk to that person. Okay, no problem. So hung up. So I called the lieutenant back. I got nothing to say to you, CJ. I'm like, look, I'm not asking for admissions or anything. I'm just asking, who did you speak to in T-Cole? Because I'm trying to get a hold of them. I just called them. They said I'm good to go. So I just need to know who you spoke to so I can get to the right department. I'm not answering any questions to you. That's weird. You know, they hate it when you do that. They hate it when you say I'm not answering any questions. Oh, okay. I'll just take you to jail. But that's what he did. You know, he pulled the I'm not answering any questions route. And I guess that's a good thing because, you know, it just would have been added to the civil suit, any words that he said. They would have, anything he said, were going to be used against him in a court of equity. And so I'm like, look, all I'm asking for, LT, is I'm not asking for any facts. I'm not asking for you to admit anything. All I need to know is, or you need to, because they told me just to have you call T-Cole enforcement. You need to call T-Cole enforcement. And he's like, I'm not answering any questions. And I don't have to do anything. I was like, I'm just who did you speak to? And then he just hung up on me. So long story short is they want to play that game. That's fine. I handed them everything. The law is very clear. This isn't like a complex issue. 46 Texas Penal Code 46.15 A5 is crystal clear. If you meet the definition of a retired law enforcement officer under 18 United States Code 926C, and 926C talks about the card that you have to have that says you are an honorably retired peace officer, which is what my card says, and that you meet the qualifications under the Occupations Code. I think it's 1702, the Texas Occupations Code, which it doesn't matter what that one is, but it's just our annual certification. Every year I have to qualify on my firearm, and I do that every year. I have done that every year. And so under 4615, it says if you're retired, you have to have those two documents, the 926C card and your, sorry, someone tried to call me, and your T-Cole qualification card that is not expired. So I did that. I did exactly what the law says. There's not a, well, I didn't know kind of thing, because I made very clear to them. I quoted the statute verbatim, all of the statutes, 4603, 4615 A5, 18 USC 926C. Sorry guys, no qualified immunity here. You did what you did intentionally. They even said they called T-Cole. That's odd. T-Cole doesn't say anything about a phone call. And they even told me on the phone, which is of course recorded, that no, you're good. Just present your documents to them. If they got any questions, just have them call T-Cole Enforcement Division. I said, okay, I'll do that. But there you go. Looks like Smith County, I think I've got 4 cases against Smith County now. And now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand this one off to another attorney. I'll just hire my own attorney, so I don't have to deal with that also. But yet another case against Smith County. They think that, laws apply to thee, but not me. The simple fact of the matter is that Article 1, Section 23 of the Texas Constitution is very clear that only the legislature shall have the power to regulate the wearing of arms with a view to prevent crime. It doesn't say a judge can make a policy. It doesn't say a county sheriff's department can make a policy. It says only the legislature can regulate the wearing of arms. And the legislature has created laws that say if you're active law enforcement, 4603 doesn't apply to you. If you are a bailiff, 4603 doesn't apply to you. If you are a judge, 4603 doesn't apply to you. If you are a district attorney, 4603 doesn't apply to you. If you are a retired peace officer under 926C, 4603 doesn't apply to you. So neither a judge nor a sergeant or a lieutenant or a captain or a chief or a deputy chief or a sheriff or a mayor or a county judge or a district judge, none of those people can alter state law through a policy, period, straight up. And that's exactly what they did, because they pointed to a policy. So guess what that also means? That there's a policy or procedure which overcomes Monell liability against the county as well, because apparently these guys are enforcing an established or implied policy. I don't know where the policy came from. Likely a county policy. We'll find that out in the lawsuit. But yeah, it's amazing when you can allegedly commit several felonies, but they don't arrest you. They just threaten to arrest you. And, you know, I could have pushed it, but they did enough. They did enough that I didn't have to push it. They threatened to arrest me. Point blank. You come in here with a gun, you're going to be arrested. But oddly enough, if I come in there with a gun, I'm going to be arrested for impersonating a peace officer, not for carrying a firearm in a prohibited place. That's, I mean, what's the logic of that? So, all right, guys. Eventually, we'll see what's going on. Eventually, that video will come out. I do have it offloaded, and I've already sent it to several people for safekeeping, just in case someone wants to come and, you know, they want to file bogus charges and have me arrested and steal my phone. I've got the video, and I'm looking forward to this because, you know, Smith County, they violate people's rights left, right, and sideways, and it's about time that these tyrants were held accountable, and they're going to be held accountable, and I'm just going to keep holding them accountable. So you guys take care, be safe, be free. I'll talk to you next time, and you know, eventually you'll see the video, and throughout this process, I might release some snippets from it. We'll see how they respond to my lawsuit, and you know, if they lie to the public about what happened. But it's kind of interesting that T. Cole says, no, you're good to go, but Smith County liars in chief in the sheriff's office say that T. Cole said, I'm not qualified. So either they're lying to me or they're being lied to, but I think they're just lying to me, to be honest with you. They're just making shit up. There's no way they called that quickly. And if they did, they probably talked to the wrong person. But it doesn't matter because T. Cole is not, those aren't attorneys. That's the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement. It's a commission that manages training and certifications. That's it. If they really had a question, they should have called the attorney. I even told them, you shouldn't be calling T. Cole. Perhaps you should call the Attorney General and, you know, get some actual legal advice instead of T. Cole advice, because T. Cole's about as smart as a box of rocks, and I apologize to rocks for that. I'm not a fan of T. Cole. All they do is protect and create bad officers.
Half a mile.
And so, all right, I'm going to let you guys go, and I will talk to you later.